My name is Lucas Santos, and I need you to listen to me carefully. Time is passing quickly, and this story could change your life. At 13 years old in 2019, I went through something I never imagined. I was clinically dead for nearly 10 minutes. What I experienced in that moment still haunts me every day. Before I continue, I'd like to know where you're listening to this from. I feel closer to those who listen, even if we're far apart. If you can, leave a comment or like this account. Let's talk openly about what I'm about to share. Now let's get to what happened. It was a normal morning in São Paulo. On February 12, 2019, I had been training in swimming since I was 6 years old, and the pool was like my second home. That day at 5:30 a.m., I was trying to beat my personal record in the 400-meter freestyle. I remember feeling my muscles burning on the last lap until something strange happened. Later, I discovered I had a heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. My heart simply stopped. I didn't feel pain, just an intense sensation in my head. The water around me darkened and I began to float. I thought, this can't be the end. But what came next is hard to explain. Many people don't believe it, but it was more real than anything I've ever experienced in this world. While my body lay lifeless in the pool, I saw everything from above. I saw the coach shouting for help, people running, and the despair on everyone's faces. But I was calm, as if I were watching a movie. Suddenly, I was sucked into a dark tunnel. It wasn't just darkness, it felt alive, pulsating, full of anguished voices. Screams echoed, filled with pain and despair. It was as if hands were trying to pull me into that darkness. I tried to fight, but it was useless. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, a light exploded around me. That light wasn't like any other. It was alive. Pure energy, impossible to describe. At its center was a majestic figure, Jesus, not the calm Jesus from the images we know, but someone whose presence was both terrifying and wonderful. I fell to my knees, unable to look directly at him. His voice echoed within me when he said, "Lucas." In that moment, I felt perfect love mixed with deep sadness. "You know why you're here?" he said. I couldn't respond. How do you speak to the creator of the universe? But he didn't wait for an answer. With a gesture, he showed me my entire life like a movie. I saw every choice I made and how they affected others. I saw moments when I laughed at someone being humiliated, and times I ignored those who needed help. But I also saw acts of kindness I hadn't even noticed at the time, small gestures that changed lives. Then he showed me something terrible, hell. It wasn't like the caricatures with flames and red demons. It was a place of complete absence of God, where the darkness weighed like something tangible. There I saw people I knew, people who went to church, who said they were Christians. They screamed, begging for another chance, but it was too late. They all said the same thing. I thought I had more time. Jesus continued to show me hard truths. He opened the book of life, a book made of living light. In it were names that shone like flames, but some names began to fade slowly. They were people I knew from school, the neighborhood, even the church. They thought they were saved because they prayed once or attended services, but their hearts were far from God. Next, he showed me the current state of the world through spiritual eyes. I saw demons spreading lies among the crowds. You have time. God is only love. You're a good person. People believed these falsehoods, walking toward destruction without realizing it. I saw churches full of people singing praises, but with hearts far from God. I saw pastors preaching superficial messages that made people feel good, but never confronted sin. Finally, Jesus showed me the future. Darkness advanced over the earth like a living shadow. I saw people rejecting good and embracing evil, confusing right and wrong. I saw persecution of true believers, and many abandoning their faith when following it. Required sacrifice. A powerful angel appeared and declared, "Time is running out, but many will be lost because they waited too long." I came back to life with a mission, to warn people. We are closer to the end than we think. Don't wait until tomorrow to seek God. Today is the day. People are completely absorbed in their phones, social media, entertainment, and political debates. So distracted they don't notice time running out. Then Jesus showed me something that still makes me tremble today. The moment the door closes, when it's too late to choose to follow him. People suddenly awakening to the truth, begging for more time, crying for mercy. But the door was already locked. Their chances were gone. "That's why I brought you here," Jesus said. "You need to go back and warn them. Time is shorter than they think." I saw the demons gathered in a large circle around us. just beyond the light surrounding Jesus. Their eyes glowed with a sinister red hue, their forms shifting like dancing flames. They weren't caricatures or silly figures, they were ancient, powerful beings overflowing with pure hatred. They watched me. Remember their faces, Jesus said. They watch everyone, waiting for the right moment to whisper lies and lead souls to destruction. Every time someone chooses sin over me, these spirits gain more control over them. The demons laughed, a sound that echoed within me and left me frozen. You think this will change anything? They mocked. They won't listen. They love their sins too much. They'll choose us as they always have. But Jesus wasn't finished. He showed me heaven, and no words can describe what I saw. The colors were more vibrant than anything on earth. The music perfect, surpassing any human composition. The joy, peace, and love were indescribable. Yet what struck me most was who was there and who wasn't. I saw people I never expected. Those who were humiliated and rejected on earth but had sincerely given their hearts to Jesus. I also saw empty spaces where religious leaders should have been, places reserved for people who thought their church attendance or good works would save them. The door is narrow, Jesus said, and few find it. Not because I don't want them, but because they don't want me, not truly. They prefer a God they can control, a salvation that doesn't require transformation. Then Jesus showed me my own heart. I saw my religious pride, my self-confidence, my careless attitude toward sin. I had created a God in my own image, a God who would let me live as I pleased. That's why you died today, Jesus said. So you could see the truth and warn others. Time is running out. Lucas. The enemy has convinced them they have more time to turn to me. But they don't. The door is closing. I felt tears streaming down my face, or whatever tears were in that spiritual realm. Lord, I pleaded, how can I make them understand? They won't believe me. Some won't, he agreed, but some will. Tell them what you saw. Tell them that merely believing in me isn't enough. Even the demons believe. Going to church isn't enough. Being a good person isn't enough. They must surrender everything to me before it's too late. Suddenly, the light around me began to fade. Jesus, wait, I cried. I have so many questions. Tell them what you saw, he repeated. Tell them time is running out. In the next instant, I was breathing again in the pool, with paramedics working frantically over me. I had been dead for 9 minutes and 36 seconds. The doctors called it a miracle. There was no medical explanation for my heart, restarting or the absence of brain, damage after so long without oxygen. The physical recovery was tough. 3 days in the ICU, weeks of tests and monitoring. But the physical challenges were nothing compared to the spiritual battle that began as soon as I returned. The enemy didn't want this message to get out, and I learned that quickly. The attack started the first night home. I woke at 3 a.m. to a room so cold I could see my breath. There was a presence in the hallway, a shadow darker than the darkness itself. The same cruel laughter I heard in the spiritual realm echoed through the room. They won't believe you, the voice whispered. You should stay quiet. Who would listen to a boy after all? But that was just the beginning. The demons I saw with Jesus hadn't forgotten me. Night after night, they came. Sometimes they just watched, their red eyes glowing in the dark. Other times, they showed me visions of hell, reminding me of what I'd witnessed and trying to scare me into silence. They planted doubts in my mind. Maybe it was just a dream. Maybe you imagined it all. Maybe you're going crazy. But I knew what I experienced was real. More importantly, I knew why they were so desperate to silence me. The message Jesus gave me isn't just another testimony. It's a final warning to a world running out of time. What scares me most are those who hear, know I'm telling the truth, but still choose to wait. They say things like, I'll dedicate myself to God when I'm older, or believing in Jesus is already enough. But they don't understand that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. I didn't expect to die at 13. None of the souls I saw in hell thought their end would come when it did. The spiritual war has only intensified. The enemy uses every strategy to silence this message. Sometimes the attacks are direct. Other times, he works through people, even Christians, who tell me I'm being too radical, too fundamentalist, or too scary. But how can I soften this message when I've seen what's coming? How can I downplay the urgency when I know the cost of spiritual complacency? How can I stay silent when Jesus sent me back specifically to warn others? This is the message he wants me to deliver. Time is running out, not just for the world, but for each individual every time you choose sin over him, every time you ignore his voice or delay a total surrender, your name begins to fade from the book of life. One day, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, it will be too late. The false idea of a comfortable, superficial faith so common today is leading many straight to hell. Jesus showed me souls in torment, completely shocked to be there. They thought going to church and being good people would be enough. They thought a generic belief in God was sufficient. They thought there would be time to dedicate themselves to him later. The demons I saw are real, and they're working tirelessly because they know time is short. Every time you justify sin, every time you choose the world over Jesus, every time you say, "I'll get right with God tomorrow," you're falling into their traps. The darkness coming over the world is already here, and Jesus showed me how the spiritual realm intertwines with our physical world. Right now, as you read this, an invisible battle is happening for your soul. The enemy is fighting desperately to keep you distracted, to convince you that you have time, to make you believe that partial commitment is enough. Since I started sharing my testimony, I've received thousands of messages. Some criticize me, others attack me, but there are also those who recognize the truth in my words. They feel the urgency. They turn to Jesus with their whole hearts, not just with empty words. Yet for every person who listens, there are hundreds who don't. They say things like, "God is love. He wouldn't condemn anyone to hell," or "I'm basically a good person," or "I believe in Jesus in my own way." These are the lies the enemy spreads to deceive people. I saw in the book of life, believing alone isn't enough. Even the demons believe in God. What matters is complete, total, absolute surrender to Jesus. Every night before I sleep, I pray for those still walking in darkness, for those who think they're saved but aren't, for those who hesitate to fully commit to Jesus, because I know the destiny that awaits them if they don't repent. I saw it, I felt it, and I don't wish it on my worst enemy. This isn't about religion, rules, or traditions. It's not about going to church or following rituals. It's about having a real, personal, transformative relationship with Jesus. When the end comes, and it will come, nothing else will matter. Not your money, not your status, not your successes. The only thing that will matter is whether you truly knew Jesus and whether he truly knew you. The spiritual attacks continue. Last night, I woke to find my living room filled with a demonic presence. The air was heavy with evil, and I could hear their screams echoing, "They won't believe you. You're wasting your time. Give up." But I won't give up. I can't. Jesus didn't bring me back to live a normal life. He brought me back to warn others before it's too late. That's what I want you to understand. Jesus loves you. He loves you so much that he brought me back from death to deliver this message. But he won't force you to choose him. That choice must be yours, and it must be total. Half-hearted faith isn't faith. Partial commitment isn't commitment. The time for playing games with God is over. The time for comfortable faith is over. The time for trying to balance one foot in the world and one in heaven is over. Jesus showed me that this kind of faith doesn't save. I went through death, saw heaven, hell, and met Jesus. I returned with a warning. Time is running out. The door is closing. Don't wait until it's too late. This isn't just my story, it's a call to you. But remember, I died to bring this message to you. The question is, will you listen before it's too late? I hope this message has transformed you. If you've watched until the end, let me know and leave a comment. I'll be watching. Receive this promise. Blessed is the servant whom the Lord finds watching. Share and subscribe for more words like these.